wear this. So good news, I don't have any videos, so I think everyone's going to be relieved by that. And I've also been asked to make up some time, so I'm going to speak a lot quicker. Wanted to just run through kind of VC is this mythical thing that everyone needs from to grow businesses apparently. What we wanted to do is kind of expose some of those myths and also give some practical advice about how you can raise VC capital if that is what you want to do. So I think the first thing to note is building a business is really hard, right? We've built our business Praetura to 150 people, 40 million in revenue. It's taken us 10 years. We've made loads of mistakes. We've hired the wrong people, had to get rid of the wrong people. We've never hit any budgets, all of the things that every startup goes through. So we've been through those, and it is really difficult. And then to make things worse, if you need venture capital, that's also really difficult. That's a painful process. And I think we're up there with journalists and politicians as people that most people don't really like, VCs. And I think it's unfortunate, but in a lot of cases, I think it's actually quite well deserved. I don't think we make the industry that open and welcoming to people. I think we make it harder than it is, and we definitely overcomplicate it. VC is actually really simple. When you boil it down, we're looking to find and back exceptional founders and then help them build a great business. That's it, nothing more. Everything else is massively overcomplicating the whole thing. So what are some things that, some myths and things about VC that, probably aren't true? First thing is you don't actually need VC. That's not part of growing a business. You can get VC capital. It may accelerate your growth, but it's not the be all and end all. It's not the thing that validates you as a business. It's not a thing to aim for. It's part of the journey, and hopefully it will help you accelerate your growth. But to give you a great example, MailChimp never raised any VC capital, sold to Intuit for 12 billion. Pretty good result, didn't need capital, built a great product, bootstrapped it themselves, got revenue, paid for costs, built it, sold it for a shitload of money. That works, right? So you don't always need VC. The second thing is everyone talks about how hard it is to raise capital. And from Praetura Ventures perspective, we see about 200 and something opportunities a month. We invest in less than 0.5% of things we see, which sounds like you've got really slim chance of raising capital, right? But that's us as one VC, and every company who's raising capital goes to many more than one VC. So if we're at 0.5% or 1%, and if every other VC is at 1%, if you go to 20 VCs, your actual chance of raising capital is significantly higher than what the press talk about. And that is just maths. I think one of the things that's really sort of bad about VC is there's this mindset that there's this adversarial battle between the VCs who hold all the capital and the founders who want the capital. And some VCs, I think, don't respect that kind of that power imbalance, and also see their job as kind of gatekeepers, and the people who are trying to hold on to the money, and founders are the ones who are trying to take it off us. As I said right at the beginning, it's really simple. VCs are trying to find and back exceptional founders. It should be a relationship. It should be a partnership. It shouldn't be such a battle, because if you don't kind of like get off on the right foot, it's going to be really shit. Because early stage businesses, they don't always go to plan. In fact, most of the time they don't go to plan. Whether that's don't go to plan for good reasons or don't go to plan for bad reasons. If you don't start off as a great partnership, it's just going to be an awful experience for everybody. And it shouldn't be a battle. And if it starts getting to be a battle with the VC you're talking to, don't do it. And equally from our side, when we're talking to founders and it just becomes difficult, we shouldn't invest either. Like, even if it's a great business, if there isn't a cultural fit, if there isn't an alignment between founders and VC, don't do that. Don't do it, because it's just going to go downhill from there. I think a lot of founders, and I think a lot of people who talk about raising VC, they talk about how VCs want to run the company. I can assure you, it's hard enough running our company. We have no desire to run yours. And especially, in the health space, right? So Even if you're a really experienced healthcare, life sciences VC, you are not an expert in the things you are investing into. You just can't be. You know, from our experience running the life sciences fund we have, we're talking to cardiac experts. We're talking to people who are trying to find the cure for cancer. We're trying to talk to people who have got diagnostic tools for example, Gendius, right? We can't know everything about those things. And if we're trying to, when you think about that, how on earth would we run the company? All we can do is try and help you build the best business they can. That's all we can do. We definitely do not want to run the company. Equally, from VC perspective, not every VC will actually help you grow your business. Every VC will talk to you about how much value they add, how they, if you get on board with certain VCs, that's it. You're off on the rocket ship and you're definitely going to grow your business. I think when you see some of the stuff in the press about VC and stuff, and there's a great exit, a lot of times VCs are talking about what they've done. And then when it goes badly, they kind of blame the founders. That's totally the wrong way around. When founders build great businesses, it is down to the founders doing great stuff. If a VC can play a part and help in some either small or large way along the journey, that's great. But just getting VC capital and all of the talk of value add, it doesn't mean that you're going to grow. It doesn't mean you're going to hit your target. So don't over index on every VC will help you grow. The best thing you can get is a partner who will help you as best they can to grow your business. But remember, it is down to the founders when businesses go well, and it is down to the founders when businesses don't go well. It's just because the founders are the ones who are running the business. VCs can be a super helpful partner, but they can't do anything more than that. When you are raising capital, there'll be loads of talk about getting feedback from VCs. Most of it is rubbish. Most of it. In fact, I would say 95% is rubbish, because when the VCs met a company for the first time and they've read the pitch deck and they've had an hour conversation, they actually know, I was about to swear, which is pretty much my, they know F all. That sounds so ridiculous. They know fuck all about your business, right? You've had an hour meeting and you've read a pitch deck. Like, giving feedback about what's right and wrong in the business is just ridiculous. It's arrogance and it's stupid. We just don't know enough. We know enough to know whether we particularly love it. We know enough to know whether we're really interested to invest in it and want to explore it more over the next three months or whatever it is. But after that very short period of time, for anybody to come back to you and say, this business won't work because of this factor, or you should go to this market, or you should try and sell to this customer, it's bullshit. Ignore it and just move on. Like, the only thing that matters after the first meeting is, do they want to continue the conversation or don't they? And if they don't, the one thing I would say, when you get into that email exchange with, we didn't like it for this reason, you respond with, oh, you're wrong because of this reason. That has never, ever ended up with you, a VC, investing in your business. Just stop arguing, because effectively it comes down to a gut feel, comes down to an early stage thing of, we really like this, we'd really like you as founders, we'd love to learn more over the course of the next 2 months. That's the best you can get out of that first meeting. Do not overestimate how valuable the feedback is. And final thing that is a complete myth or semi-myth is you have to go to London for funding. Hopefully that is no longer the case. Hopefully firms like Praetura, firms like other VCs in the north of England are trying to do something about that. The stats are still shocking, and I love saying this, so I'm just going to say it now, even though it's not really that relevant. The north is 20% of pretty much every economic indicator in the UK, whether it's companies, whether it's population, whether it's GDP. So is London. 80% of VCs live and work in London, and 3% live and work in the north, which is, it's just the most ridiculous overweight saturation of London VCs. But the good news for everyone sat in this room is people are trying now to change that. There are more VCs coming into the area. There are more VCs looking to back businesses like you. So hopefully we can all work as an ecosystem to make that better, so you don't have to get on that train, especially now with all the strikes and shit like that, to go and find the funding because it's ridiculous. So after all of that sort of myth and sort of, I guess, a little bit of VC bashing, if you still want to raise funding from people like us, how would you go about it? The first thing is get your pitch right. Like, spend the time thinking about what your pitch says, make sure you cover the key things. And in particular, focus on I always think the biggest question you've got to ask is, and get someone to sort of give the answer to is, why us? Why now? Right? So why are you and the team uniquely situated to solve the problem you're trying to solve? And why would it be madness for a VC not to invest in you now? Because the easiest answer, and the answer you don't want when you're talking to VCs, is, I really like it, but can you come back in 6 months when X, Y, or Z has happened? Because that's just a rubbish answer. It's no good for anybody, but it's the easiest response, right? Because it just gives you, as a VC, it gives you optionality of, in the future, that might be great, come back to us and speak to us then. That's not the answer you want. You need to answer the question of, why do you have to invest now? Why is the opportunity now? And what can you do with the funding now? Second thing to do, find VCs who are looking to invest in what your business does, right? So if you're trying to raise, I'll just give a stupid example, you're trying to raise 250 grand or 500 grand, don't go to Sequoia. They're not going to do it, right? They're just not. Equally, if you're going to try and raise 100 million, don't come to Praetura because we don't have 100 million. Go to people who are looking in your space, at your check size, at the stage you are in the company, because they're the people who are most likely to invest in you. No VC in the world has ever gone, our mandate from our investors is to do this type of deal, but fuck it, let's go and do this, right? It's never happened. They're not going to do it because they're also a business and they want to be able to, as a VC, raise more money in the future. And if they start doing deals that they're not mandated to do, they won't ever raise any more money. So it's suicide. No matter how good you are, no matter what you're doing, go to people who will invest in businesses like what you are doing. Tell your story, and the emphasis there on yours. So, right, there's so much, and I'm guilty of this myself, bullshit on LinkedIn, right? There's loads of stuff that people write about. This is the story you have to tell, and this is the thing you have to do, and make sure you say this, right? It just doesn't work. Be authentic. Be you, raising money for your business based on the set of unique insights you have, not what your mate said to get some funding in, for his business, or what some LinkedIn guru says you should do. Tell your story, because one of the things that VCs are looking for the most is that authentic kind of realness of a founder or a founding team that says, do you know what, I really think they can do this. I'm getting the warning of 2 minutes. I think most people have ignored that 2 minutes. So I don't know whether it's real, not real. I think be honest about the risks, right? So, we see this a lot. Founders come to us, they talk to us, they pitch the business, and they're like, this is absolutely guaranteed. Yesterday I got an email saying you are missing out on a guaranteed unicorn, 100x return. I'm like, shit, am I? Fucking hell. I need to get on that. And it's just like you can't tell us there are no risks, because we know there are. We know if you're not going to tell us what the risks are, we just assume there's a boatload that you're not telling us about, and actually don't go anywhere near us, because you're either incredibly naive or you're hiding something from us. So be open with what are the risks of the business? What don't you know? What do you hope to be true, but you can't yet prove? Just, be real about where your business is, because in your heart of hearts, it's not flawed, it's not risk-free, it's not guaranteed, it's not definitely going to work. You hope it is, you believe it is, that's why you're doing it, but it's not guaranteed, and there are definitely risks. Learn as you go. So, I talked before about not taking the feedback to heart. I think the only time that really sort of changes is if you're getting the same feedback over and over again from all the people you're talking to. On that regard, I don't think that's about changing the business, but it might be changing the way you tell your story. You might just not be quite getting it across. You might not be getting across the size of the problem and all these people who are desperate to pay you to fix it, or whatever it might be. So I think that's what, if you get consistent feedback, act on it. If you get, ad hoc feedback, ignore it. I think the other thing is to enjoy it, right? It's, look at that dog, loving it. Just enjoy it, because it's all part of the journey. And if you think about what you're actually doing when you're going to speak to VCs, you are selling your company, you are selling yourself, right? You will have to go and do selling to loads of people in the future. So this is a great way of pitching, you practicing your pitch, because fundamentally raising VC capital is selling to the VCs. You're selling your company and you in exchange for money, and that is what you're selling. But selling is a great thing to practice, because you always want to be able to do that elevator pitch. You always want to be able to talk about your business for 15 minutes. You want to be able to do the pitch for the hour. It's great practice. Enjoy it. You're talking about something you love. Like, you're talking about the business you're building that you're super passionate about. That shouldn't be a chore. That should be something you actually enjoy. And the more you enjoy it and the more you sort of lean into it, you'll be better at it. And then you have more chance of raising capital, and then you can finish the process and move on. The final thing is, I'm contractually obliged to wear this hoodie and to advertise the fact that we do have a fund for life sciences businesses based in this region. We can do from 50K to north of £1 million. We're actively looking. We have a team who are dedicated to investing in this space. Contact us via, website or LinkedIn or whatever it is. Get in touch with us. We're desperate to see and meet founders who are building something cool in life sciences in this region. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. I think there was some honest statements there.